Hey Linux friends, what's happening? What's cracking? Today we're talking about dot files. You might say, what the heck is a dot file? Well, the word on the street is that it's a hidden directory or hidden file in Linux, and you can expose these hidden, mysterious, mischievous things that are trying to hide in the corner of your file system with -la to show everything. So dot PKI, dot bashrc, these are hidden directories and files. And so why are dot files important? Well, let's say you created this amazing cat bashrc. We don't have anything really in there except this really strange PPPPP for some reason. And you created it and your hard drive dies. It's gone. Or you're distro jumping this week and you forget to copy all your config files and you have to start from scratch and you're gonna lose your hair like I have. And so let's not do that. So let's install with your package manager of choice, pacman sy, it's called Stow. And I already have it installed, but I'm just showing you. I'm gonna reinstall it anyways. So how does it work? Well, Stow is a symlink manager. So it creates symbolic links from a centralized directory to the appropriate places. It sounded fancy, and it is. Now you're maybe wondering, hold the phone, push the brakes. What's a symbolic link? Well, let's just create a symbolic link manually without Stow, so you know what to look for. And let's do ln-s for symbolic. Let's bashrc, why not? We were just talking about bashrc. We can call it the symbolic link. We can call it whatever we want. Yeah. And now if we do you know what we're gonna get? Bashrc. And so you can think about symbolic links in the terms of shortcuts. If you're coming from Windows or even Mac OS, don't really know Mac OS, but I think they have shortcuts as well. And so think of symbolic links as containing no data. They're just pointing to the thing that has the stuff that you're looking for. That's a symbolic link. And LSA, let's look at it right here. So is pointing, symbolic link, to home ace.bashrc, the file that we were just talking about. And you can also see an L. Starts with an L. It's a link. It's a symbolic link. So you can also do stat, get more information. You can see symbolic link right here. You can also do file. These are just like the minor nuggets that you get from the Linux Ninja. Minor nuggets. Yeah, symbolic link too. So now you know file and stat. Sweet. And you know what the symbolic link is. Now we're going to create the directory that's going to be the centralized directory that's going to hold all our config files, and Stow is going to use to create the symbolic links everywhere that it needs to. So let's do a megadir Dotfiles. You can name it whatever you want. I just feel like this is pretty self-explanatory and easy for me to remember in the future. And so let's go into that one. And I'm going to I would always recommend moving the files that you're going to create symbolic links for into the Dotfiles directory. But for this one, I'm going to give you a nice treat. bashrc, copy it. The dot is the current directory. See, now we have just .bashrc right here. So if we do Stow and just Stow dot, it just means that everything that's on like the ground floor, like .bashrc, stow those files away. And see, warning, stowing would cause conflict. And so it's saying you have to -- adopt or nothing is gonna happen. And I'm gonna show you right now what this is about, just so you know for the future reference. So let's delete PPPPP and let's do arminator. And now we cat bashrc. Of course, we're going to have arminator right there. And so what happens if we do Stow dot, it's actually going to override the dot file that's currently in Dotfiles with the one that's in the parent directory. I'm just showing you this so you're aware and don't accidentally override anything that you didn't want to. See, now we have PPP again, and arminator is gone. And now we have this current structure, and what actually happened? Well, take a look at this. Take a look at this beauty. So .bashrc is now a symbolic link to dotfiles.bashrc. And you can see the link right here. So that happened. Here's another example. Let's say you use the Starship prompt and you want to keep that configuration file safe and sound in the bosom of the Dotfiles. So let's take a look at .config. And here you have starship.toml, the terminal. It's an ARIA's terminal. And what you have to do is you have to do megadir p, and the first folder name that you do, the folder, I said folder, who's this, Windows fanatic? The first directory that you create, it could be Donald Duck, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Can't even type Donald Duck. Donald Duck. I'm gonna name it Starship, but it could be anything. It's a placeholder for Stow to recognize what you're talking about. And so .config, and that's it. And now I'm gonna move the Starship file, Starship, to starship.config. And now you can see right away that the configuration is gone. What's happening? What is deal? What is deal, man? And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna use the magic of Stow. So we do that with Stow. And what do you think that we're gonna type in? Yes, the placeholder, the name that we gave it. So Stow knows what it's doing. Stow Starship, shebang, it's back, it's alive. And now we verify that with ls config. Let's see what happened. Here you have it. You're becoming a master. Link, Starship, hyperlinked. Back to the 90s. Symbolic link to Dotfiles, Starship, blah, 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 blah. What about our most precious NeoVim config? How do we get it into the bosom of the Dotfiles? Well, I'm gonna make you think for 5 seconds. How are you gonna make it happen? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. mgadir -p. And now we have to create nvim. Please, for the love of all that's holy, don't call it xc and then .config and then nvim. No, let's do it nvim .config. And that's it. Now we're gonna move, because we're ninjas. We're just gonna move the NeoVim config, and we're gonna move it. Where are we gonna move it to? .config, shabam. What happens now if we run nvim? Well, it doesn't look pretty. It's pretty box standard. So let's do Stow. And what are we gonna write now? nvim, because that's the name that we gave it. And let's fire up nvim. It's there. Now what? The world is our oyster. It's our playground. We can do anything. So let's say you want to delete the symbolic links that you just created, -d, nvim. And now if you run nvim, do you know what's going to happen? You know it. It doesn't know what to do. It's like, oh, here are the bare bones. I have nothing for you. So Stow is pretty hip and cool. It's with it. And so it doesn't automatically just take whatever you want, because it has an ignore list, which is good. You can create your own custom ignore list. If you're wondering, like, why isn't it stowing away my .git directory, which is a good thing. But you can create your own custom with hidden file, stow, -local, -ignore. And so here are the defaults. Like if you create a readme file, it doesn't stow that, so which is nice. Just so you know, link in the description, yada, yada, yada. You know that, now you know it. What's next? I also want to let you know, if you open up your file manager and you don't see .files, you have to make sure that you show hidden files. That is something you have to do, because maybe you have hidden files in your .files directory. You don't see them in your file manager. Just remember to enable hidden files. If you've used Git before, you know how to initialize, push, and create a remote repository, etc. But if you're new, you might be thinking, what do? I have no idea what those words mean. But don't worry, I'm here to help you. Let's jump over to Codeberg. You can, of course, use GitHub, but that's the most popular option out there. But I like Codeberg. I don't like the whole Microsoft GitHub association, but let's go here, create a new repository. This would function the exact same way on GitHub. You create a repository. Please, for everything that's holy, make it private, because initially you don't know if you're pushing out usernames and passwords. So just make it private, be on the safe side. Let's not initialize, because we're going to do that right now. in the .files directory with git init. And git init, now you can see we're on the master branch, and the question mark is because nothing is being tracked. So first, let's do git switch and switch over to main, because Codeberg just by default it uses the name main instead of master. And so now we're on that. Let's do git add and see git status. Here's everything in the current directory that's not being tracked. And so we just do git add dot to add everything in the current directory. Git status again. You see it changed from question to plus. And now all of these files are being tracked. They've not been committed. So let's do git commit m, and let's do my first commit. Why not? And now do git status. It's a clean working tree. Everything's been committed. Nothing's new. Nothing's fresh. If you would edit a file, it would actually, and you do git status, it would come up there again with changes. So right now, let's do git remote add origin, and origin is just the label that you can use anything. But again, use origin, because if you look up something online, all the tutorials are going to use origin. So just use that. You can use either HTTPS or SSH. I'm going to use SSH because I'm going to show you how to do that and actually create keys. And so let's do that. And now we're going to unlock the treasure trove of creating SSH keys. So SSH add, and let's see if the SSH agent is running, which is necessary. And it's not. So you do eval, and this is something that you would actually put in your .bashrc or .crc, whatever you're using. So let's do SSH agent and put it in there. So the SSH agent always starts, and actually put in there every private key that you want to add. So let's create a private key, SSH keygen, and let's do T for type, ED25519, and file where we want to put it, and SSH, and then we also want to use the name Codeberg. And no passphrase, because if you use a passphrase, it's going to prompt you every time that you want to unlock and use the private key. And so SSH add, let's see if no private keys have been added. So let's do SSH add, and let's use the private key that we just created, Codeberg. You don't use the public key. You use the private key for that. And so let's do cat, and let's SSH Codeberg pub. This is your public key. It's safe to show that. And let's jump over to settings, SSH keys, add this one just as demo. Add, now it's in there. Is there something that I'm forgetting? I don't know, because that was pretty quick. Let's just see what happens. Git push origin main. Yes, I want to connect. And bada bing. See, that was quick and dirty. It doesn't have to be super complicated. But if you're interested in learning more about Git, different commands, rebranching, like it's just whatever, just anything, just ask in the comments. I can create another video. But if we jump over here, let's just go back like that. We should have my files, private, good. And now we actually have our bashrc, our starship, blah, blah, blah. And so if you ever go to another computer, you do git pull, you have to actually now save your private key and your public key. And that's a whole different thing. But I think now you actually have, now this stuff is safe. You're good. I hope you found this beneficial. I really appreciate you guys. Like, I've been getting more subscribers. Love it. Thank you. And just let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you would like me to expand upon or talk about. But until next time, peace out. Thank you. Bye.